What is up, Heffas and friends? Welcome to another episode of Java and Journeys with Jillian. If you're new here to this channel, how are you? My name is Jillian and Heffas. We are at the Dublin Airport because we are getting ready to head back to Orlando. Y'all, this is not going to be a direct flight. We are traveling back via JetBlue. We are connecting through JFK. Does this not sound familiar? And from JFK heading back to Orlando. So very similar, Heffa fam, to my London travel. So if you happen to miss that video, I would highly encourage you to go ahead after this one. Go ahead and, keep binge watching and check that video out. But y'all, we are about to go through customs, and as soon as we make it through, I am more than happy to talk a little bit about the departing process. If you are someone who is traveling to the US and you are a US citizen coming from Dublin. With that being said, while we're also at the airport, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get some eats because JetBlue is not going to do us dirty again. We are not going to trust the food. And again, watch my travel adventures, and especially even my most recent video where I was traveling to Dublin from Orlando. Y'all, the JetBlue food is just not giving. It's not giving. It's not giving at all. So while we're here, going to check out and see if there are any unique treats, any good food that we can gear up and take on our flight. And then of course we'll do the same while we're at JFK. So with that being said, Heffa fam, go ahead and get your bags packed. Let's get ready to head on home and enjoy this journey with me. If you find yourself going through Dublin, something that is interesting that my co-producer was telling me is a very European thing is that to get to customs, if you have a US-based flight, you actually go through the duty-free area. And I just wanted to show you all this because I'm like, what in the HE double hockey six is going on? I'm like, where is customs? And y'all, you go through duty-free, and of course, they'll collect your items for you and give it to you when you depart your flight. But you'll see these signs pointing where you need to go for customs, but you go through this duty-free area to get your last items, because if you spent over $800, you need to declare it. So go ahead and get your shop on, honey. But I thought this was so wild. And obviously you'll know, right, y'all, if you are going back to the US, but it is helpful that you have the departing board here just for all the flights all up. But you have coffee, restaurants, all the standard things here. But then you'll see a specialized board that will show all the US departing flights. So y'all, we still need to go through customs before we get our Java on and get our eat on, because I am starting to get a little hungry. So we're gonna go ahead, get through that. I'll let you all know how that process goes. Y'all, I'm actually going to take you with me as we walk toward customs just so you can see what this is like. So of course, Ireland is known for their Guinness as well as their whiskeys. So again, if there's a particular whiskey brand that you want, hopefully you'll be able to find that here. Something that was a little surprising to me, so my co-producer was telling me that basically if you want to get your food on, get your shop on, highly recommend considering doing that before you go through customs, because while there are options after you pass customs, this is where you're going to see the bulk of your options. So just make sure you take a look around. If there's anything you want, y'all, we have Boots, Buy Boots. And that's basically the UK and Ireland's pharmacy. Fortunately, I think I'm okay, y'all. There is a bit of a coffee shop and a little restaurant. My co-producer looked this up post-customs. So I think we're just going to chill out there. There's also a lounge. I don't know if I can access the lounge. So that is a TBD. We have a little shop over here. Again, y'all, I think I'm just going to wait till I get through customs. Although I'm sure you all can hear, let's talk. I'm like, of course, I'm coming down with the cold. So we'll talk about that. But I'm like looking at this fruit stand and I'm like, oh my gosh, if they have a shot, I may want to take a quick shot before, because I don't know if they have something like this post customs. But yeah, y'all, I don't need to bring home anything else. I'm good. But if you are traveling through Ireland going back to the US, there's plenty here that you can choose from before you go into customs. All right, Heffa fam, I'm not mic'd up right now, so hopefully you can hear me really well. I went ahead, I'm like, let me go ahead and get this shot because I don't know if there's anything like this stand. Oh my God, y'all, the sandwiches look so good. I'll try to show you a quick view. Also, this is something that's unique to Ireland that I found, that a lot of their lids to their bottles like attach on, which is really cool, so that when you recycle your bottle you can include the lid with it. But y'all, it's so like awesome that they do this, so that way you don't have to worry about losing your bottle cap or dropping it or anything like that. Y'all, one drink of many on this journey. Cheers to good health. All right, y'all, this is not bad. It is spicy. This is a ginger shot. It has apple, yuzu, lemon, ginger, and cayenne pepper. We need this to boost up our immunity system. Boost up our immunity and or boost up our immune system. Ooh, y'all. You just gotta take it like a champ. They also had a few other juices. They had a turmeric, and they also had a beet juice. Y'all, the beet juice, I don't recommend doing that if you're about to get on a flight, because that will go through you and it will clear you out digestively, if you know what I'm saying. Whew, she is strong. At the frutality stand, I just want to show you really quick. The sandwiches and salads look so good. Check that out. But here's the thing. If you're going to go through customs, my co-producer was saying that here, they don't allow you to take food or drink in through. So whatever food items you purchase, drinks, you need to go ahead and consume that before you go to customs. Y'all, we're going to go ahead and continue heading over. Y'all, made it through security. Wow. My co-producer was like, y'all, we made it through security, and I had to go through an extra security screen because I'm extra special. Word, though, I had to go through an extra security screen. Y'all, check out the view. Now, I was like, I wonder why I had to go through an extra screen. I had to take off my shoes and everything, y'all, run my bag back through. Now, this is like while we're in the global entry, that area, so it's not like I had to go back through security literally. But y'all, I was like, do you not know who I am? This is Java and Journeys. Get with it. Why do I have to go through an extra screen? And I'm like, they're probably like, Heffa, we don't know what you're hiding in that hair, that big A ponytail, you got those braids. But y'all, made it through. I wanted to show you, and it was easy. I filled out my customs, like my declarations. You could do that through the, let me tell you all the app. And I talked about this on the flight coming back from London. Oh, y'all, actually my phone is in my bag because I put it in there. But if you download the global entry, okay. Okay, the U.S. Customs Border Protection app, if you download that and you're traveling back in, you can go ahead, make your declarations. It makes it so much smoother to get through versus when you're having to fill out that form or let them know if you have anything to declare when you're coming through. Go ahead and fill that out at the port of entry, so wherever you are coming through, to go through and do your customs screen. Y'all, we have it all done. So you know how when I was coming from London, I actually had to pick up my bag and go through my customs screening at JFK because that was considered to be my port of entry. Y'all, we've cleared all of that here in Dublin because they have the mechanism and the security to do all that here. So thankfully, y'all, we're done. We don't have to go back through another security screen when we get into JFK. As a matter of fact, we don't have to pick up our bags until we get to Orlando. So that is great news that I don't have to stress out about that because it had me concerned, but again, easy process. Even when I got into JFK, the longest thing I had to wait for was my luggage in JFK to recheck it in to get through to Orlando. Now, coming off of the screening process in customs, basically U.S. border protection, they have another little kitschy shop. So again, don't have a meltdown. You can get your last minute Irish gifts even in this little area here. Now, y'all, I truly don't need anything else. I have my dairy milk snacks. I have my Tato chips. I purchased a bag of assorted flavors before I left. So all of that's in my bag. So we're good to go. Let's get some nosh because we are hungry. So we're going to see if we can find a restaurant here while we wait to board our flight. Y'all, our gate is 4:05. So not too much further away. But I will say this whole little area for the U.S. based flights, it looks a little sad. It's like all the fun stuff is before you cross over here. I'm looking and I'm like, oh, this feels very like meh. And they do have a lounge as well. Now, I think anyone can access the lounge. You don't have to have any type of special credit card privilege or points or miles or anything like that. It's not tied to a particular airline. However, you do have to pony up 50 euros and you get to access the lounge for up to 2 hours. Now, I don't think we're going to do that. We're going to see what's available first before making that decision. But I predict, y'all, that we are just going to hole up at a restaurant if they have any availability. So we have Whiskey Bread Kitchen and Bar here. This looks pretty full, which I was a little concerned and afraid of. I see a table there. Okay, they have a 2-seater. But we have this as an option. Again, you have more shops. I don't know if I think we are actually going to get our job on before we get on our flight, Heffa fam, because, ooh, yes. Okay, so cappuccino, everything right here. So y'all, we're definitely probably going to get our Java on.
I'm sorry. You're fine.
Right here. We'll come back to this coffee stand though. Postcards, again, more snacks. Here's our gate up ahead. And y'all, I think that's it. I'm not sure where I think the lounge is straight ahead. So let me connect with my coworker. Yep, here we are, y'all. So we're in the right area, we're in the right place. The lounge is further up ahead. So I'm going to check with the co-producer and see what we're going to do. Friends, we have an hour and 15 minutes before we have to board our flight. there was a line for the restaurant. We're actually going to circle back and just see if we can do that, because if we had 2 hours, then I would be more inclined to do the lounge. But I'm like, it does not make any sense to pay 50 euros per person, which, that's going to be a little bit more in USD. I'm like, it just doesn't make sense for less than 2 hours. If we had a solid hour and a half, but there is a little bit of a line here, which I kind of missed this walking through. I thought it was just one person. So y'all, we'll see. I don't know. So this is what I recommend doing. I recommend, depending on the time that you have, if you get to the airport early and you're returning to the US and you're coming through Dublin as like your first stop, I honestly recommend just going ahead, get yourself something before you go through customs. Now be mindful of the time. So if you're tight on time, just go ahead and come through, because you never know. We were able to get through it pretty fast. There were no issues. And some of my colleagues who are locals were telling me that typically it's not crazy, but you never know. So just be mindful of the time that you have. Go ahead, because you're going to have more options before going through US border protection and customs versus when you get here, because there's so many folks here and there's not a lot you can actually do. So that would be my biggest point of feedback, is that there needs to be at least 1 to 2 more restaurants and eateries just to spread everything out, because otherwise this is what you have to look forward to. All right, Heffa fam, we're going to continue to stand in this line, and I'll check in as soon as we are seated. We are seated, and here is the menu. So fairly comprehensive. You have here the traditional full Irish breakfast, which has the bacon, the sausages, eggs, hash browns, mushroom baked beans, and Irish bread. Y'all, I'm about to get on a flight. We're not doing all of that. They do also have a BAP, which this looks good. Bacon, sausage, hash browns, and a breakfast sauce in a potato bun. Granola bowl. Heffa's, I think I am probably going to do the bacon waffle, because that sounds interesting, and they have coffees. So I may get a coffee, or I'll probably, I'll probably get a tea and then grab a coffee at that stand on the way out for the flight. So that's what's up. That's what we're going to do. So for this restaurant, friends, this is kind of similar to Epic Universe. You just scan the QR code and your table number is featured on there. And then once you scan the QR code, you order through the app, essentially. You pay, everything's covered, and literally you just wait for them to bring your food out to you. And this is also why Heffa's, it's super helpful when you're traveling. Bring your sanitizer, bring your wipes, because our table was a little dirty. So I just literally took out my Lysol wipes, gave it like a quick wipe down, gave my seat a wipe down, all good in the hood. So it's helpful to be prepared. And also, we're going to go through, wipe our seats down, because sometimes you may have people who are nasty. So you always want to take those precautions. So I just want to give that quick little PSA announcement. I've sanitized my hands, and we did place the order for the bacon waffles with an egg. We're just going to share that. And then I also ordered a lemon green tea, and I'm just going to grab a coffee at that stand before the flight. Here are our bacon and waffles, and y'all, this is a different type of bacon. This is not like the traditional US bacon. So we'll see, because she's not looking as crispy as I typically would like my bacon to be. I don't like my bacon super crisp. I like it to be chewy. But we'll see how this is. We won't judge it until we've actually had some. And then we have our eggs, and my co-producer's like, wow, these look very soft scrambled. And I'm like, 100%. I love my eggs soft scrambled, but he likes his cooked a little bit harder. So y'all, we're just gonna give this a try and see how it all tastes. Here is our back bacon. And this is like the first traditional breakfast that I've actually had here in Ireland. I haven't been out early enough to go eat breakfast, considering that I've been here mostly for work purposes. Now this particular bacon, the way it's flavored, I think what they did was pour some of the syrup for the waffle on top of the bacon, besides that glaze that you all saw. You can see that here. Nice flavor. It almost tastes closer to like a, you know how ham, it all comes from a pig. But it tastes closer to ham than like traditional bacon that you would get in the US. Kind of like Canadian bacon, actually. Yeah, not bad at all. Here's our waffle. That's nice. What I wish they would have done, they could have drizzled a little bit of syrup on the bacon, but put more of that on the waffle. Because the waffle is a little bit, like the texture. It's a little bit on the, I don't have a way to describe it. Yeah, it's a little gritty. It's like thick and dense. Bit gritty. It almost tastes like a cross between a waffle and a cake. If that makes any sense, like dense like a cake. So I definitely think there should be a little bit more syrup. Again, not bad. Let's try this egg. Here we go here. The egg is nice. Typical scrambled egg. All right, y'all, so I think this is okay. If I had to rate it out of Heffa's, I probably, because of the waffle, I probably would give it a 2 out of 5. It's a basic breakfast, and of course they have other menu items. But I'm going to continue to work on this. It's not edible, it's fine, it's just okay. I just wish the waffle was a little softer, but I think it's just a different texture. Not my favorite texture of waffle, but it does have a nice vanilla flavor to it. So I'll check back in with you all when we're heading out to grab our Java. The flight is boarding early, so we have wrapped up. I'm gonna go ahead and stand in line for coffee. My co-producer is going to the little stand to grab me some tissues and like snacks and stuff like that, just so we have all of that on the flight. Y'all, I was a little shook because we were like looking on the app. Our boarding time doesn't start technically till 10:45 because the flight doesn't take off till 11:30. Y'all, it is, sorry, I'm trying to get my watch out here, y'all. It's 10:24. So was not expecting that, but y'all, we have our assigned seat. I'm not too worried. I'm like, whatever. Listen, this is not back in the day when you used to fly Southwest, y'all. Now, the policy has not been enacted long enough for me to talk like I am 80 years old and say, back in my day, but y'all will never know the pain. For those of you all who know the pain of having to make sure you're in line to get that good positioning by your letter and number for Southwest. Baby. That was actually one thing I was okay with them eliminating. I was like, don't eliminate the bag policy, but like the assigned seats, I was actually okay with that. I know some people wanted to have like the open seating, but I was like, no, we need to have assigned seats and we need to have the check bags no matter your status. I think that was a mistake that they got rid of that, but that's just me. We're not here flying Southwest, we're flying JetBlue right now. So, y'all, I'm still standing outside this line and should be ordering up next. Oh no, y'all. Look. Y'all did not notice this. It's not a traditional espresso machine. All right, we're gonna pray. Bow your heads, Heffa fam. I should have just gotten tea. That's okay. We're gonna try. We're gonna give it a try. We're gonna give it a try, y'all. We're gonna give it a try. see if it's any good. But you all know how I feel about these like pre-mix machines. Right here. You all know how I feel. But I will say there are fresh beans in the hopper, so maybe it won't be that bad. So it's not like completely like a pre-mix thing. So y'all, we'll see. Fingers crossed. All right, y'all. So we are on another shuttle, kind of like what happened when we were coming into Dublin. So we are heading over to our plane now. Y'all, this is what it's giving. So I'm going to focus on trying to keep my balance here. My co-producer is holding my shoulders. And we'll catch up when we actually board our plane. Friends, we have boarded, so just to give you kind of like a quick look around, again, we have the extra legroom seat. The jet goes back pretty far. We have put up our luggage, and those of you all who have been watching my series, none of this will be new to you. But in case you are a first-time watcher and you're thinking about considering JetBlue for your travel needs, what's really cool, and y'all, I wiped everything down. So I highly recommend when you have your wipies, like get your tray table, get the screen, get the window. Of course, like this is with the shutter down, but y'all, I got all of that. And to give you an idea of the legroom here, so y'all look at, now I am a short person, I am 5'4", but the extra legroom seats will give you plenty of space, especially for those long haul flights. So I have a ton of space here, seems fairly clean. Again, I wiped everything down. And y'all, if you're doing the extra leg room, you get this blanket here. You also get this little pouch that has earplugs. I will show you all that, and a mask. So you get this snooze kit. And y'all, I've just been collecting these like Pokemon cards. So just in case, if ever I'm traveling somewhere internationally and I happen to forget or need earplugs or need a little eye mask because I completely forgot mine, it's nice to have things like this. So, and it comes with the price of my ticket. So I'm like, I'm 100%, I'm getting my money's worth over here. And also, listen, don't come for me unless you have a check for me. These are not tissues. These are my wipes that I use to wipe my seat belt, my tray table, the screen, everything, baby. Because I don't play. I do not play. I do not play. You see that I sound like I have a little bass in my voice, a little tickle in my throat. And I will tell you all what I predict happened, because you all know I try to keep the environment around me clean, but this is why, y'all. Now let my card down for 2.2 seconds. But before we get into all that, let's see what is on the menu for this JetBlue flight. Okay, let's go ahead and get this process started. We're gonna skip this, y'all. Don't need to pair with my phone. Yes, that be me. All right, y'all, so you only need to fill this out if you care about personalizing your flight experience. I actually don't care. I'm just gonna continue as guest. And also it like picks up where you left off. So if you have your little personalization, it will track all these things for you. Again, I'm skipping this. All right, next. All right, so we are going to design our meal. So it looks like what we get complimentary, the beet carrot slaw and the snap peas with feta. So let's see what this is. So shredded beet and carrot salad with the candied sunflower seeds. This actually sounds interesting. It it's 2 salads, and then like just sugar snap peas with feta. Okay. Let's get to the main event. Let's see what's going on here. All right, y'all, so here's our choice. We either get mushroom and lentils, which that's the vegetarian option, or we could do the pesto pasta salad that has the herb chicken. So we'll go ahead and go with that. This also comes with a kale pesto, green beans, and roasted tomatoes. Okay. Now, after you put in your order, you're gonna hit done. Friends, we're gonna hit next. Okay, so you can also hit the option of I don't want food if you didn't like anything that is featured on the menu. We're gonna hit submit. And this is it, y'all. So we'll see if this is actually any good. And then of course you can check out the beverage and snacks. And you don't have to pre-select this because they'll come around. And y'all, what's really neat is if you do the extra legroom seats here on JetBlue, you actually get 3 alcoholic beverages, and of course the non-alcoholic beverages. I think that's unlimited. So a little pro tip. And they have a decent-ish selection. So it's all Pepsi products. That's why you see the Starry, the Pepsi. You have some bubbly here. And then like some juice. Of course, here are the spirits. So we'll see if they actually have all the spirits available. Because last time I tried to order like a cream, I think it was it this? So this is a black button bourbon cream. So we'll see if they have something like this. Because I'm like, it'd be nice to get our Java on the plane. Of course, we have our gin. And then we have like our, there's some scotch. So yeah, it's just like you get some pre-mixed drinks here. So they have like a margarita mix, a lemonade.
Good morning, JetBlue customers, and welcome aboard flight 8.
You have tonic here. So yeah, y'all, all the beverages here. So we're just gonna hit next, and then here are the snacks. So your choice of goldfish. We're gonna have like these plantain chips, Biscoff, and chewy granola bar. So I will say the options that they have for this flight is actually probably the best and most logical option that I've seen for a JetBlue flight in terms of what makes sense. The last flight coming to Dublin, the dinner option for JetBlue, y'all, it was so freaky. It was like your main was basically salad, your sides were salad. And it just was very bizarre. It wasn't great. I have not been impressed at all by the JetBlue food. The snacks are all right, you know. I've not had the plantain chips. Before my other flights, they've had like these little like cookie crisp things. But it's all been all right. I'm actually kind of surprised because I would expect for JetBlue to have better quality when it comes to their food, but y'all know this economy. This economy is it's a reflection of the state of things.
Which may be before.
All right, y'all, we have our latte, and I went ahead and put this in my tumbler because you all know how I like to roll if and when it's possible for these flights. Ooh, y'all, we're gonna see if it's gonna be any good. Now, because we were a little bit in a rush to go ahead and board our flight, I didn't get the opportunity to try this to see if it needs sugar or anything like that. So, y'all, we're just gonna hope. And if worst comes to worst, I'm gonna get that bourbon cream and add it to this if I feel like that could maybe help it. But cheers. It's okay. Hey, y'all, it's not bad. I wish it was stronger. That has been the theme of my coffee experience here in Dublin. Give me a strong espresso bean, but the flavor is fine. I was a little bit worried that it was going to taste a bit artificial. Yeah, y'all, this is okay. It will do what it needs to do. And when they come around, I'm definitely going to order that bourbon cream. Fingers crossed that they have it. And I'm going to add that to this because I think it's going to kick this up a notch. And the gentleman handing me my latte, he was so nice, this African guy, and he had these sharp glasses that were like gold rim. and he complimented me on my glasses. You know, he had the accent, y'all. I'm not even gonna try because I will be offending my African brothers and sisters. I'm not gonna try it. But he was like, "Hey, sister, love your glasses," and we were like, it was a whole vibe, y'all, a whole vibe. So I appreciate him. It's like good coffee, good company, good fun. Gave me a great laugh. But yeah, y'all, we made it on. And what I predict, the reason why we boarded far earlier than the actual time is likely because we had to actually take the bus to charter the plane and get on the tarmac. I think if that part was eliminated from it and they didn't have to get so many people on this full flight, then it would not have boarded as early as it started. And y'all, the flight is completely full, which is so funny because literally we were checking in last night and the seat on our aisle was free. There were still a lot of empty seats left, so I don't know what happened between last night and today, but y'all, it is a completely full flight. So all of our seats are taken back here, and I think they're still boarding and making sure that everyone is accounted for on the plane. And we're going to go ahead and take on off after the boarding process has concluded. Drink service has rolled on by and have the bourbon cream, but what they do have is something just as sufficient, at least for me, Heffa fam, the outrageous espresso cream liqueur. So y'all, we are going to get our Java spiked because I think this is going to be delicious. And then y'all, I just got a bubbly. This is just so I can have on the side. Not at all going to mix the two. We're not that crazy. So let's go ahead. I'm going to try a little bit of this first, and then I'm going to add it to the Java that we had received in Dublin. All right, y'all. Smells like a nice cream liqueur. Ooh, that's nice. That's real nice. All right, let's add it to our Java. Have those bottoms up. Yes, I did the whole thing. Don't come for me unless you have a check for me, okay? I'm not about to drive anytime soon. Y'all, I have my lid on tight. We're gonna go ahead and shake it up just a little bit. You know how to shake it up, okay? All right, y'all, let's see how this tastes. Yep. That's good. Y'all, I've literally never thought about that before. I should probably start bringing my own coffees and then adding, when I'm in a position where I get the drinks complimentary included as a part of my ticket. Because y'all, this would have been good without a cream liqueur. We could have done a nice bourbon. We could have done a whiskey with our Java. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to continue to enjoy this. Who's ready to have a salad party? Y'all, it's just salad, salad, salad. So here is our chicken pesto, and at first I thought this was going to be warm, but I recall them saying that everything was going to be cold. Yay, fantastic. But yep, here is our herb chicken pasta salad. Here's our beet salad. And then here is our snap peas and feta. And y'all, it's less even about it being a salad party and more about it being like a sides party. These are all what I would consider to be sides, barring that if this was warm, that would change the game a little bit more, but everything's cold. You also get this caramel crispy here. This is cold and it's hard. I've never had anything like this, so I don't know that I'm actually going to open this up and try this now. I feel like this would probably taste better being at room temperature, so I'm going to wait on this. You also get a bottle of spring water, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and try everything out. Here is an up-close look at our chicken pasta salad. All right, y'all, I'm gonna try the chicken first. Here we go. The chicken is very tender. You taste the herbs. It's actually not bad. So I'm definitely going to polish off the chicken meat if nothing else. So y'all, the pasta salad part, very herby from the pesto. And it tastes like it's been mixed with some Italian vinaigrette or some sort of Italian dressing. So this isn't terrible. I see a little bit of like shaved carrot in here. So this is not terrible. Okay. Honestly, this is probably the best main dish that I've had from JetBlue, which says a lot. To me, I feel bad for anyone who really can't eat this or don't like it, especially if they don't like the vegetarian option. But for me, everything here works. Shocking. All right. Let's try the beet salad. Giving you a little bit more of an up-close view of this. Here's what she looks like. Now, you can remember Heffas. I believe the sunflower seeds in this are supposed to be candied. So just a little bit. Now I'm sitting my camera down on the tray table. It looks like this is a mixture of beet, carrot, no, this isn't bad either. I will say. Okay, come on now, let's get it right. I'm happy they added the sunflower seeds to give it more texture, give it more depth. Taste a lot of the carrot, the beet juice. I feel like there's some spices going on in here too. So again, I don't hate this. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's okay. I actually wish I had more of the sunflower seeds on this. All right, let's try our feta and snap peas. actually looks very fresh, very vibrant. Let me give you a up close look. If you are a fan of sugar snap peas, this is very refreshing. So overall, listen, I will still say, if you are flying JetBlue, especially if you are flying JetBlue for a long haul flight, bring your own food. Do it, because while this is actually the better meal, I've had actually the best meal I've had on JetBlue. Everybody's not going to like this. And it being the best meal that I've had out of the, including this one, 3 most recent, no, actually, if you count like each plane, yeah, this is my 4th JetBlue flight. Y'all, that says a lot that this is the best meal, and even then I think this is okay. So I would just say, please be prepared to just buy your own food to bring on the plane or eat before getting on your flight. So that way, if you get served a salad trio, a cacophony of just sweet, nothing but sweet on sweet on sweet breakfast, you at least have a good meal prepared on you, or that you've eaten before going on the plane, so that way, for especially the long haul flights, you don't feel like you're going hungry trying to wait to either land your destination or get to your connecting airline. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and continue to keep munching, and I'll check in with you all. If we get served something else, I'll show that to you. Alright, y'all, so before we make our descent into New York, we have one last meal and drink service. So we have here a feta wrap. I also decided to do a gin and tonic because I'm like, that sounds really good. So we have our Seagram's tonic, we have our Bombay gin, and this is really interesting, y'all. We have like these little lemon and lime packets to add to give that additional citrus flavor to our gin and tonic. So let's go ahead and get into this. So I bet y'all didn't know, she is a bartender. Yes, ma'am. I mean, sometimes things can be so hard to do, y'all. Let me teach you, okay? We're gonna pour a little bit of our tonic water in our cup here, like so. All right, Bombay, watch out. We're gonna get to you, I promise, girl. And then I'm going to add, I think about half of this, because I have about half of the tonic left. All right, y'all, I think that's about half, maybe a little bit. Okay, there's about half of that left for another round. I'm going to take both the lemon and lime packet, just making sure that powder, that citric acid, is down a little bit. So I'm just going to tear off the corner here. Ooh. Y'all, you have to be careful out there. The person in front of me moved their seat. Don't worry, the plane's not going down. All right, let's move this back up. All right, y'all. Okay. We'll just pour in a little bit of the lime, or the lemon, and then I'm going to do the same for the lime packet. Alright, y'all, we're just going to give her a quick stir. I poured a little bit more of the lime than what I intended to, so we're going to see if this tastes good. Alright. Cheers, Heffas. Almost making it to New York. And y'all, I'm still intact. I actually broke out my mask because I'm just like, I'm trying to protect myself and the people around me. Yes, ma'am. That's really good. Like maybe just a little bit too much lime in there, but no, this is tasty. Yes. I'm gonna, now if you ever get those packets, be careful with it. I was like pouring the lime in gently, and then all of a sudden, like, there was some that came out and I was like, ugh. So it is a bit on the tart side, but this is delicious. Well, you know what? I think I want to give myself a 5, but, you know, we're going to be humble. We're going to be humble and give ourselves a cool 3 on this one. All right, now that y'all have had enough of my shenanigans, let's get into the wrap and see if that's any good. All right, now my co-producer was just telling me that he feels as if this is the best thing they've had so far. We'll see about that. Because the bar is in hell. It is in hell when it comes to JetBlue. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. One more bite. No, it's not bad. I'm trying to figure out if I like the pasta salad better or this better. I think because there's not like a ton of dressing, I may take this over the chicken and pasta salad, but that chicken was really, really good and tender. So let me show you all what's under the hood. So here, it's hummus, tomato, I don't believe there's meat in here. Yeah, it's just falafel. So it's a falafel and hummus wrap. So y'all may finish this. And again, this was served cold, not hot. So do not expect a hot meal on JetBlue. Don't expect that at all. It ain't gonna happen, babe. But if they're gonna serve you something cold, something like this is good. Even that pasta salad with the chicken, that wasn't too bad. So given that the next leg of our flight is just 2 to 3 hours to get from JFK to Orlando, or I should say JFK to MCO, New York to Orlando, it's just going to be snacks and 1 drink service, I predict. So we'll probably, I actually don't know, because between this I'm actually not super hungry, but we may just take a couple bagels home just to heat up later on, like over the weekend. But I don't suspect that we're going to need a lot to eat when we touch down. We thought about going to the Asian restaurant, which if you all happen to miss my flight experience going to Dublin, check that out. Because in the JetBlue terminal at JFK, they have this Asian restaurant and it's rated okay. We're thinking about trying it, but I'll see how hungry I feel. We may just go in there and pick up like 1 or 2 things to share. But yeah, y'all, we're gonna keep working on this and I'll see you all in JFK soon. All right, y'all, we are at JFK. Y'all decided to just go ahead and put my mask on because as the flight was going on, I luckily, prior to the flight, and even when I started feeling a little bad, I haven't been coughing. I've just had a little bit of a runny nose, and I've been trying to sanitize the environment around me. And again, make sure to protect myself and the people around me. And I could feel myself starting to cough on the plane. So I was like, I'm just going to put my mask on because if I do start coughing, I don't want to potentially get other people around me sick. My co-producer's feeling healthy, so that's good. And he's been the closest to me within the last like day. And y'all, I just think it's a combination of, oh my God, y'all, there are birds in here. I think I just missed it. They're like flying around. It's so hilarious. So this is what I think happened, y'all. I don't know that I recorded this, so I'm gonna have to go back in my footage and look because I think I did record this, but y'all, one of my coffee stops in Dublin, it was like in a convenience store, wasn't a dedicated cafe, like independent cafe. And they had pastries and everything, and I knew, like, there was something in me that was like, this looks a little sus. It looks like it's been sitting out for a while. But I was like, you know what, let me just try something. So I got the banana bread, and as soon as I got back to my hotel, I took a bite of the banana bread, and instantly, not like, I don't say like instantly, like it just happened, but the banana bread tasted, it was very cold. It was stale. I took the one bite, and I would say within, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so, you know how you can feel something's coming on? I could feel it a little bit. So I started really taking luckily I packed some vitamin C with me. So I think had I not packed my vitamins, I would probably be worse. I also been taking immunity shots while I was in Dublin, like the juice shots from Circle K. And so y'all, like, it just is what it is. My work trip, it was really good seeing my colleagues in person. But y'all, I forget what it's like sometimes and how, I'm like, how did we do this before the pandemic? You know what I mean? Like going into an office every day, seeing people in person. I know a lot of you all have had to go back to an office physically every day. And it just takes so much energy out of you. So my hat's off to you all, especially those of you who are in the service industry and you're dealing with ignorant heifas all day, every day. I have a story about that too. And y'all, we are making our way to the Asian restaurant. I cannot remember what it's called, but we'll see it here in a little bit. We're back in the JetBlue terminal. I've taken a lot of footage of the terminal. So again, go back over my London trip and then even the first leg of my trip over to Dublin. But my hat's off to you all. Luckily, I've been able to work remote, but you know, I know that that's probably going to come to an end at some point. Maybe, who knows? But y'all, it just takes so much energy, and I was filled with a lot of anxiety because I'm on a fairly new team, in a fairly new position that's very different from the work I typically do. And the folks on my team are brilliant, very senior, super smart, have been doing the work for years. Like I'm talking about years on years on years of experience. And the imposter syndrome was getting to me. I felt I just felt very intimidated. And yeah, it went okay for me personally. The trip overall was great. I'm talking about in terms of my performance. It's another video for another day. But y'all, my health has been up and down. And I think it's just because I've had so much anxiety and my mental health has been impacted. So it's a video for another day. But I hope you all are staying healthy out there. And if you do legitimately start feeling ill, I'm happy that I took this mask with me just in case if something like this were to happen. Y'all, pack a mask. Like, keep yourself healthy. Keep the environment around you healthy. Like, I made sure to wipe down my tray table again before I departed from the plane to try to reduce the likelihood, hopefully, because I don't know that they clean things thoroughly. So I was trying to do the best that I could to make sure for the next person they're walking into a sanitized environment to the best of my ability. All right, y'all, we're at Nom Wah. So again, here's the menu. And I am not terribly hungry after consuming that wrap. So we're probably just gonna split something. I mostly wanted to just come and chill out and grab a tea since the only lounge they have here is a JetBlue lounge. And I can't get into the JetBlue lounge because I don't have the credit card, I don't have the status. So I'm like, let's just try this place out and chill because we have some time before we need to board our flight to head back to Orlando. So let's go ahead and enter in Nom Wah. Oh my God, y'all, our waiter is so hilarious. He's like, you're not gonna put me on camera? And I'm like, hey, listen, if you wanna be a superstar on my channel, we can make it happen, babe. He was so hilarious. But y'all, wanted to point out that they have regular drinks. I don't think everything was listed on the menu outside, but they have premium tea and handcrafted mocktails. So I showed you all the menu right outside. Look here, they have hot tea. I'm definitely gonna go for some of the premium tea here. And you see the prices listed, so it is a little pricey, but I'm just gonna go for it because we're gonna be chilling here for just a little bit. And then they also have a full list of cocktails. So if you want to get your drink on, you absolutely can. And so far, really good impression. Clean walking in, staff have been very friendly, and it's like a beautiful spot. Now, we have a server, but I also see that there's a QR code where you can order. So I think we'll be putting in our order with the server. I'll touch back with you all to let you know what we end up doing. But I think in terms of the premium teas, part of me wants to do oolong, but I always default to oolong. So I think I'm gonna try something I typically can't get or don't have access to. So y'all, I may try the chrysanthemum tea that's listed right here. It's actually rare that I drink chrysanthemum, so I think I'm gonna try that. Silver needles, y'all, silver needles, that is my jam. I love silver needle, jasmine green. You all know, if you've been watching my channel recently, check out my last video where I was at Epcot, or the Japan Pavilion, and I purchased some green tea. Oolong, that's my thing. I've never had China breakfast, so that one sounds interesting. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do the chrysanthemum to start. It's an herbal tea, and I think it'll help me a little bit. And we're gonna continue to look at the menu and see what we want to get. So I was getting the rundown on the ordering versus using the QR code. So you can use the QR code at any time. What is really cool is that you place your order, you go ahead and pay. So your server will go over your initial order. So like for us, we're just starting out with a couple of dumplings, y'all. We're gonna do the shumai, and we're gonna do the pork soup dumplings just to start. And if we're still hungry, we'll add more to that. But you place the order with your server, they'll go through the order, make sure everything's correct. You pay at the table, they'll have like one of the machines with them. And then if you want to add to your order, you can. So you can either do that directly with your server, or you see the QR codes that are at the table. You can also directly, and it's at both ends of the table, which is pretty cool. So you can just tap that. So what will happen is when you place your order, it'll ask you for, I want to say, email, phone number. It's going to send you a link, so that way you can just tap that link and go ahead and add more to your table. But you're just going to pay as you go, which I think that that's really neat. So interesting technology. So I love seeing that with Nom Wah, especially when you're in the airport and you're in a rush and you don't want to have to, wait to place the order if your server is really busy. Because right now, y'all, we're here at a good time. It is 7:10. Which is wild. I'm like, how is it? It does not feel like it should be 7:10 at all. It feels like it should be earlier. So it's actually quite calm right now. But in those circumstances, let's just say you find yourself in JFK, you come over to Nom Wah, you may be like in a rush. So it's cool that you could just continue to add things yourself mobily and get that order out and just pay as you go. So you're not having to wait, 50, 11 years to finish up your check and then get on your flight. So a little pro tip for you. Y'all, quick correction. I'm like, it's 7:10. I'm like, wow, does it feel like it? Y'all, my watch was still on Ireland time because I hadn't turned back on the airplane or turned off the airplane mode on my phone. It is actually 2:12. So I wanted to issue that correction because I was like, wow, it does not feel like 7:10, y'all. I will say, I rested a little bit better on this leg of the flight, and it's because I was using my blanket more so as a pillow. And I'm like, why didn't I just do that for the last flight? Granted, I got a little cold on the flight going into Dublin, but y'all, that kind of changed things a little bit because I could actually lay my head and like actually get a little bit comfortable. So I slept probably for a good couple of hours on the flight. But y'all, I think as soon as I get home, I'm taking a hot shower and hopefully maybe I can take a bath if I feel like I have the energy for it. But I'm just looking forward to getting some good rest. But yeah, y'all, it's about 2:12 and our flight, and that's like duh, because our flight, I want to say that we start boarding at 4:45, somewhere around then, to head home. And we should be getting home by 8 o'clock. So the synapses are firing now. We're good. But this just means that we need to get another round of Java, which we're definitely going to do that before we get on this flight to head back home. Our tea has just arrived. So here is the chrysanthemum tea. And I just love seeing like all the bits for the tea, given that this is an herbal tea, just like here in this clear individualized pot. So that's also another pro tip, that each person at your table orders their own tea. So you don't have to all worry about aligning on the same tea if you're with a cohort of picky tea drinkers. And then my co-producer, he got the Iron Goddess of Mercy tea. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. And I also have a little bit of honey to go with my tea, but they can also get you milk too if you like to also add that to your tea. Y'all, the tea is absolutely lovely and our dumplings have just arrived. So let me show you what everything is giving right now. So here are our pork soup dumplings. We have our chili sauce, chili oil, and our soy vinegar mixture here. And then we also have our pork and shrimp shumai. And then of course we have our spoons for the soup dumplings. So y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get into this because we wanna eat our dumplings while they are hot. All right, Heffa fam, here is our soup dumpling. I pierced it a little bit so we can see all those lovely juices. Can we cheers to dumplings? Absolutely, we can. Cheers. And shout out to my brothers who are working hard in the kitchen to prepare all this good food for us to eat. I salute you, because I cannot wait to get into this. Y'all, the broth is really nice. That is solid. Y'all, the soup dumpling, that is solid. I dunked it in both the chili oil and the soy vinegar mixture. That is good. And I wasn't really sure what to make of it because Nom Wah is New York City's first dim sum restaurant historically. My co-producer was telling me that it has evolved to becoming more of a tourist trap. So some people find it still good. Some people think it's a miss. So far, y'all, I'm not mad about this. However, we need to try these shumai. All right, we have our beautiful shumai right here. All right, y'all. We're gonna give her a little bath, you know, because bathing is important for good health and hygiene and for my stomach. All right, y'all. We have her right here. Let's get into it. Baby, this is good. And you all know how I am about my dumplings. We may have to put in an order for one or two more things. Absolutely delicious. Given that our tea has been steeping for a while, you can now see, y'all, the flowers in the chrysanthemum tea. Fully open, so pretty. And I also like this pot. I'm like, I may need to, okay, Rishi, I may need to look this up online and see about buying one of these. It's very pretty. Listen, Heffa fam, the first order of dumplings were good enough that we're like, you know what? We'll try a few more. So we placed an order. We have fried chicken and cabbage dumplings here. We have chicken soup dumplings here. Now this is going to be the surprise dumpling here. So these are edamame wheat dumplings. This one is either going to be really good or terrible. I've never had an edamame dumpling, and I don't even think I've had it where the dumpling wrapper itself is wheat. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to start with that because, baby, I'm like, she is looking awfully green, but I do love veggie dumplings. So we're going to see if this is any good. I'm going to dip her in the chili sauce and in our soy vinegar mixture. All right, y'all, let's give this a try. Yeah, this is good. Now, I will say, I wish the dumpling wrapper itself was a little thinner. It's very thick at the top, a little chewy. But this is the inside, so it's very much like a veggie dumpling. I would describe this as a traditional veggie dumpling with edamame. It's good. All right, y'all, let's get into the chicken and cabbage dumplings. Now this one, these are fried. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm just going to dip it in the soy vinegar dressing first. Up close look at it. Well, here's the inside of that. You'll probably see some steam coming out. Now, my co-producer was telling me that he wishes had more cabbage, and I agree with him. The chicken in it is flavorful. It just needs more cabbage, but you definitely taste cabbage. It would just be nice if it had a little bit more. This is not bad. All right, Heffa fam, last but not least, we're gonna get into the soup dumpling. This one is a chicken one. I have one ready to go here on my spoon. Let's see if she's any good. Very flavorful. It's nice. Well, the soup dumplings are not bad at all here. I think so far in terms of my favorites, I think I actually like the shumai as my favorite one. Second and third place would be the pork and chicken soup dumplings, the chicken and cabbage, and the last one would be the edamame. And that one's good, y'all. It's just that the wheat dumpling wrapper is a little bit more chewy. It's tough. But it's definitely like if you're a fan of veggie dumplings and you want to try something different, try it. But those would be my top in terms of most favorite to least. But overall, I'm not mad at this. All right, and we're getting ready to take on off. So I wanted to give you one more look at Nom Wah just to give you an idea. So they have the kitchen back over here, which you can get a view of. And then this is really a nice little quaint spot. And then here's the rest of the restaurant. So Heffa fam, you know how we like to do things here at Java and Journey. So I'm actually going to pick up I probably shouldn't, y'all, because I know it's a lot of dairy, but I'm like, I think I'm going to do an iced matcha latte. Grab that at Star. I've already placed my mobile order. So I'm going to grab that, do another restroom break really quick. Then we're going to go over and just pick up a couple bagels to take home, since the New York bagels are bomb. And then that's it, y'all. And then we're going to board our flight. So we have a little bit of time here. So we're going to go ahead, head on out, run these errands, and get ready to head to our gate. All right, y'all. So I have my matcha latte, or just picked that up from Starbucks, and my banana bread that hopefully won't infect me with anything. And so now we are heading over to Leon's to get a couple bagels that we can take home and enjoy over the weekend. You know, this is what the JetBlue terminal is looking like right now. It's actually not nearly as crazy as it was when we were here gearing up to go to Dublin. It was like crazy busy. But right now it's actually been fine. And then here's like one of the main food halls, or the main food hall, I should say, here in the JetBlue terminal. I have not tried H&H yet. I was going to try them the last time I was here, but they didn't have the bagel sandwich that I wanted. So I went back over to Leon's. Leon's is really good, y'all. At least I have no issues. It's, again, the same thing as Nom Wah, where Leon's is a bagel shop in New York. People love it. Then people have now said it's become a bit too touristy. The quality has gone down. Both of my bagel and lox sandwiches have been fantastic from Leon's, at the airport specifically. I've never been to their physical location in New York City. So for me, I'm a creature of habit when something's really good. And especially when you're like, listen, we have to get and head on to the plane. We don't have time to play games. So here we are, Heffa fame at Leon's, and we're gonna place our order here at the kiosk. Yes, y'all, I think our pilot is a Black woman. I'm excited. That is so awesome. I don't want to zoom in because I did not ask for her permission, but we see the back of her head. I think she's checking in. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm so excited. I love seeing Black excellence. I do. I'm like, go ahead, girl. I don't give a F what Pete, Exeth, or any of these MAGA hoes have to say. If you are Black and brown and you are a pilot, a doctor, whatever, you had to probably work 10 times harder to prove yourself. Like, my hat, especially as a Black woman, will always be up for that. And if you were someone that's about that nonsense, you do not need to subscribe to me. I'm not for you. And it's all good. Just go ahead and check on out. But I just think that that whole thought that someone's Black or brown and all of a sudden that means that you have to feel uncomfortable or treat someone like they're a quote unquote DEI hire, you can go F yourself, like, all day, every day. This is not meant to be political, but that kind of shit pisses me off. So I'm like, if you feel that uncomfortable, then just don't fly anywhere. Period. Like, don't go anywhere. Again, you shouldn't have access to the culture or to any things that my people invented, considering that we built this country. Y'all, I'm on a soapbox right now, but I'm like, you just shouldn't. You don't deserve to use anything. If you are someone that is anti-Black excellence and you want to sit back and use your racism to justify taking away opportunities from other people and to belittle people and act as if that the thing that we're best for is cleaning your effing house, watching your kids, doing things like that, but we're not capable of anything else considering that my ancestors built this effing country. It just, like, that's what's up, y'all. That's the time of day that I'm in right now. So, I hope that that's our pilot. That would be effing dope. But all right, y'all, we're still waiting here. And because I have this bag, I have my backpack, I'm not going to film boarding the plane, but I'll check back in when we are at our seat. Friends, we have made it on our flight. So as you can see, folks are still boarding. And this is a smaller jet, but again, we're flying the extra legroom seat. Here's the view from outside the window. Pretty awesome. Y'all wiped everything down. So we're just ready to go ahead and take on off. And again, because this is a shorter flight, it's only going to take a couple hours. There's not going to be any formal food service. There will be drinks and probably a snack. And that's it, which totally works for me. In the meantime, I'm just going to sit back, relax, drink a little bit of my latte, and just try to decompress. Literally now I'm counting down the hours to go home. I know you all can hear it in my voice. I'm just like, oh, this ain't it. Which, actually, before I let you all go, because I was telling you all about some nonsense, right, that happened on our last flight. Not to us personally. And by us, I mean myself and my co-producer, aka husband. So I'm just going to say this, especially if you're a first-time flyer. Y'all, please listen to the flight attendants. They are here to help you, to make sure you board safely, to make sure that you get to your destination safely, and that the overall flight experience for you is a positive one, right? So on our flight, as we were starting to make the descent into New York, of course, the pilots already said, hey, the seatbelt sign is on. We are descending into New York. Please don't get up for the remainder of the flight. Those of you all who have flown, you know the drill. If you have never flown, typically when you are starting to arrive to the airport, whichever airport you land in, that is like a no-no in terms of getting up. And if there's an emergency situation, let's just say if you're in a tight, you have to go to the bathroom, whatever, just hit the call button. I'll show you what that looks like. So you all see, and this is on JetBlue specifically, but there's like these buttons up here, and it looks like an outline of a person. So you hit that call button, and you just let the flight attendant know, and just listen to their direction, ask their permission when you're in that whole like no one should be up. And sometimes if your flight's experiencing turbulence, they will ask you to put on your seatbelt and to not get up. Again, this is for safety purposes. So the pilot was already on the loudspeaker saying, hey, no one get up for the remainder of the flight. Then these two, well, one idiot, but they're a pair of friends, but sitting 2 rows ahead of me, he gets up and he's starting to pull his bags down from the overhead bin. And so then the flight attendant, as he was standing up, was like, no one should be up, please remain in your seat, like very polite, cool, calm, collected. Dude is still trying to take his backpack and his friend's backpack down. So the flight attendant, she then gets a little bit more stern, gets a little bit more bass in her voice, and is like, please have a seat, no one should be up. So I think it was the woman who was speaking, but not sure. So she makes her way over to the row. She was like, you are not allowed to get up while we are descending. These bags have to go back up. So she opens up the overhead bin, and she asked him, do you understand why you're not allowed to have your bags with you right now? And he was like, no, I don't understand what the problem is. She was like, if there's an emergency situation, because at this point we're like on the tarmac, she's like, if there's an emergency situation, how are you going to get out of your seat? Because now you have your bags basically in the aisle where they're seated. And he was like, I'll just walk over them. She was like, no, you're not. In an emergency situation, you're going to be panicked and you're going to trip. You cannot have these. And so she put their bags right back up over him, then shut it. And she was like, do not get up for the remainder of the flight until the captain tells you so. And she walks off. And I'm like, FAFO. Like, y'all, I don't understand. Flights in traveling is expensive. I don't care whether it's you're flying within your country, within your region, if you're flying to a neighboring country. It is so expensive, especially here in the US with fuel prices sky high and the cost that's associated with flying. Everything is expensive. I don't know why you would be willing to risk it all just to grab your bags. And I get it, because in theory it's like you're trying to go ahead and grab your bags so that way you can go ahead and walk off the plane as soon as the door opens up. But also you still have like a whole first class, like a whole section of people who need to get up before you. So there doesn't need to be any type of rush, right? We all need to be getting off safely, efficiently, and in an orderly fashion. But just don't be disrespectful to the flight attendant. Don't be a smart ass. Listen to what they have to say, because things like that is what's going to cost you to not being able to fly. Because JetBlue could have been like, you completely disobeyed instruction, we warned you, we gave 3 warnings, you still proceeded to stand up, get your bags, you're no longer allowed to fly with us. They could have very easily done that. Now that would be harsh, but they would be well within their rights because you are a flight risk. And I don't know why you'd be willing to do something like that. So y'all, just be smart, don't be stupid, and especially don't do something that not only is going to put you in harm's way, but the people around you in harm's way. Because sometimes, as I've seen on TikToks and Reels and just social media articles in general, that people, who are fighting on planes or whatever, sometimes it costs everyone, because then the plane has to turn back around, or it causes a delay in flight. Like, all sorts of consequences happen because you decide to be selfish. Sometimes flight attendants do make mistakes, yes, that happens, but we're all grown people here, and something as simple directions such as like stay seated with your seatbelt on until the light comes off and we are safely at our gate. That's very easy. Very easy. So I just say all that to say, don't be an idiot while you're flying, because you will get put out. Like, you absolutely will. And not only will you get put out, but you'll have a mob of people pissed at you, especially if it causes them to have to wait to get to their destination because you decide to make a stupid choice. So here is your PSA from Java and Journeys with Jillian. Let's go ahead. Now we can sit back and relax. We're gonna sip our latte because, y'all, can we cheers after that? Cheers for having some common sense and for not being selfish and for respecting the flight attendants, and shout out to the flight attendants and for how hard you work, because I can only imagine day in and day out some of the nonsense that you have to deal with like that. So this cheers is for you. Thank you so much for those of you all who are in the flight industry and for all that you do. Cheers. And shout out to my Heffas that are all about doing what you can to get to where you need to go to safely and efficiently as possible. Sip on that. Y'all, I probably should not be drinking because of the milk, but I couldn't help myself. I was like, I just want some matcha. I wasn't really sure I wanted a coffee, but this is delicious. But you're totally allowed to yell at me like, girl, you're not feeling well, you should not be drinking dairy products. But it hits so good. The coolness of the matcha, the earthiness. Okay. All right, y'all. I will catch you en route to Orlando. Friends, we have just made it to Orlando, y'all. I literally have been knocked out like the last hour. I am so tired. Y'all, we're here. But the caveat is, because we arrived so early, 40 minutes to be exact, we have to wait on the tarmac for the next 20 minutes because the gate we are supposed to be rolling into is occupied. So we're just going to be chilling here for just a little bit. So hopefully we'll be deplaning within the next 20 minutes, go get our bag from baggage claim and head on home. All right, y'all, we made it. That was actually less than 20 minutes. It was really more like 10, if that. But y'all, it doesn't matter.
Welcome to Orlando. Got you here
let's go.
30 minutes early. Enjoy your stay. Thank you.
And I am grateful and deeply appreciate it. All right, y'all, so we are going to battle to get our carry-on luggage off and exit the plane. All right, Heffa fam, just getting off and deplaning. It feels so good to be back home. Y'all, literally a full day of travel. It is now 7:20. So for sure, I am exhausted. How are you feeling out there? I hope you are doing well. Listen, it's a good reason to be tired, all right? I'm so grateful to have had this experience and to have shared it with you all. I sincerely hope you enjoyed our time in Dublin. You know, we are in the international terminal at MCO. And you all know I love the international terminal. It's so bright and airy and nice. So if you are flying out abroad from the US, from Florida, hopefully this is the terminal that you will end up based on the airline. It's just so nice. But y'all, it also feels surreal to be back here, because with the all-day travel, there's a part of me in my brain that feels like I'm just going to a hotel to just pack up and leave to go somewhere else. But no, y'all, we are here. And if you want to see a little bit more, I'll say a slightly more in-depth view of my chat about the international terminal, watch my video if you haven't already, where we depart to go to Dublin, because I talk a little bit about the international terminal and show what types of restaurants especially ones that I think could be a good bet to try out. With that being said, Heffas, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. Y'all, do we have any more international trips in our future? I will let you all know when I get there, because I typically don't announce anything, y'all, until it happens. But I sure hope so. Let's put it that way. I hope that we have, you know, maybe another trip or two in the future. Because while these can be exhausting, and maybe sometimes you may end up getting a cold, and hopefully it's nothing significantly worse than that. Y'all, if you ever have the opportunity to, it's so worth it to displace yourself a little bit, travel to another country, experience different cultures, see how other people live. Because sometimes you'd be surprised. And even if you can't do a big trip, that's okay. Maybe it's just as simple as starting off small and going outside of your town to a different, or city, to a different city in your state or in your country, and then expanding from there. And y'all are passing by these massive digital screens. Wouldn't that be nice if this is what we're going home to? Baby, we're in Central Florida. You are not gonna find the beach. But I get a sense that there were a lot of people on the plane. That is the one thing about living in Orlando. People just pass through here for various reasons, whether it's to go to the parks, whether it's to go to Miami, whether it's to go on a cruise, leaving out of one of few ports that we have located here in the state of Florida. There's truly something for everyone, and a lot of people just end up passing through here. So if you have a trip planned to Florida anytime soon, stay safe. Baby, take your immunity shots, take your Lysol spray. And while yes, you may end up sick, I will say it could always get worse. Hopefully I'll start feeling better after I take my Sudafed and I get some rest in my own bed, right? And y'all, follow your gut. Don't eat any suspicious cakes or breads. If something seems off, trust your gut. Don't risk it for the biscuit like me. Luckily, this happened toward the end of the trip and not the beginning, because that would have sucked. Okay, y'all. Future Jillian from like 15 minutes after I ended my video. Y'all, I completely forgot about this because my co-producer pointed this out. They have a Barney's coffee here, y'all. And this is before you go into the gated area in the international terminal. So just outside baggage claim C50. Y'all, I love Barney's, and I've talked about them in one of my other videos, but this is like a childhood favorite for me because we used to get Barney's Santa's White Christmas when I was young, living in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I thought all the Barney's, like the physical shops, were shut down, but y'all, they still have this one, at least here, and I'm sure they probably have small locations. But look at all the different flavors they have. Oh my gosh, y'all. Now this is what makes me nervous. Oh, and they also have K-Cups, and y'all see they have Santa's White Christmas. Now I'm not gonna get that, only because that feels more appropriate for the Christmas time. They have a creamy buttery caramel. I'm really fascinated by this German chocolate cake blend. Oh my gosh, y'all, and they have an English salted toffee. Oh my gosh. Oh, and they have Irish cream. Yo, that would be so appropriate considering our trip from Ireland. So why don't we do that? We're gonna do the Irish cream, and let's do the salted English toffee because we just went to London not that long ago. So I'm gonna try out, and y'all, I'm a little nervous because these are already ground, but that's okay. We're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna see if it's any good, and I'm also gonna go order a coffee. Y'all, I am so excited. I am so excited. And this is what they have in terms of their espresso bar up front. So I think I am, oh, they have a Turkish latte, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna get a Turkish latte because I'm curious to see how that is going to turn out. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and get this coffee. Let's get the Turkish latte. And let's officially close this out with one more Java journey. And if you find yourself coming over to Barney's, they have this cute area where you can sit down and chill out. Especially if you're not ready to go to your gate just yet. I am so excited. In the Irish whiskey, I can just smell it. And it just makes my heart so warm because, again, when I tell you, fantastic time in Dublin, the Irish people are so incredibly friendly, y'all. Like, above and beyond, super polite, super courteous, very caring people, like as a whole. Just had an amazing time. I think the parts of it that was a little bit rough was just the working parts, but we're not going to focus on the business aspect of the trip, which was the whole reason. So I am grateful. We're going to lean into some gratitude. I'm grateful that I am working a position that allows me to do travel like this every once in a while. But y'all, I'm also so grateful and happy to be home. And what a great way to end our trip than by getting our Irish coffee. And it's like, why not keep it global? Let's get a Turkish latte while we're at it. Oh my gosh, y'all, the barista is so sweet. She was like, girl, I love your hair. That just like made my day. I'm like, oh, thank you, girl. She was so kind and I appreciate this latte. Okay, y'all, so cheers to making it back home. And y'all, my sister's here, so I need to go ahead and get myself out there. Y'all, this is good. It's very milky. And the sister who made my latte, she was like, if you don't like, I can make it again. I'm like, no, this is fine. Is it a Turkish latte? Not a traditional Turkish latte, but it's good. It has spices in it. And this works for me. And typically Turkish lattes too are not this large. But y'all, I figured, like, it's kind of like you have to know where you're ordering from. So my expectations were not like super high. But I appreciate her willingness to remake this. She was like, listen, if you don't like, I can remake it. This is fine. But if you're someone who likes a traditional Turkish latte, try something else because you will be disappointed. Because you'll be like, this is not a Turkish latte. It isn't, but it still has the spices in it. It's yummy, but it's not a traditional Turkish latte. It is Barney's version of a Turkish latte. All right, y'all. I'm going to jump us back into the video to wrap up. Thanks again for joining me. Epcot, my favorite. Disney World Park. Y'all, with the full heart and a very exhausted disposition, I thank you all so much for all your support. If you have any questions, you know, you can always reach out to me and follow more of my journeys at Java and Journeys 24. Whether that's Instagram, my Instagram's on the struggle bus, y'all, so forgive me. But you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitch, or you can tune into our Walk and Talk Wednesdays, or you can follow me on YouTube, my primary residence, so to speak. All right, Heffa fam, I'll catch you on the next journey. Stay caffeinated out there and healthy. Bye.